What is going on, all you goons and producers? It's your boy, Miko Anthony. With me, as always, Damian's an alien. And today, we've got probably an episode we've wanted to do since the inception of this show. You know, we put together a list of some of the local artists, we've seen around town performing. And today, we're able to check one of those boxes off that list because we have Wyatt Lawson.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for coming in.
Of course.
Man of many talents, local DJ and producer, starting off, trap expert.
Yeah.
That's what they know you for around here.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
You also paint, which is pretty dope. You got some cool art
Appreciate
that you throw on the Insta that you sell.
Yeah. That kind of came about in the pandemic. I mean, I grew up doing art my whole life, and then the last 5 years I really took music seriously. But with all the time in the pandemic and no shows, kind of took to painting with my daughter and ran with it. So it's been fun.
Hell yeah. And then you've probably seen him around at a couple events. I know Artwalk to New Mexico United games. I mean, you're in the thick of it.
It's been awesome to be busy, especially after this last year, It's to me, it's all about community building, and to be able to work with everyone and kind of bring people together is rewarding, definitely.
No, definitely. So if you might have seen him spinning somewhere around town, but we've got him in the studio today. We got a good show, but of course we always got to go song of the week. Weekly song recommendations. We'll hit you with a general recommendation and a local pick. And Damian, what's on the menu for today?
All right, for me, I'm going to go a little bit more low-key, actually real sad boy stuff. Go ahead and listen to Cherry Wine by Hosier. Man, that song I was at one of his shows, had me in tears. I mean, that's an amazing song, absolutely beautiful message behind it. Go ahead and go check that out. And as far as local picks for me, I'm going to go ahead and go Friday Night by The Rhythms. Super, good, soulful, and, funky track. It's really nice.
All right. Some more good picks for the playlist. We're going to kick it to you, Wyatt. You got any recommendations for the audience?
Dang, I feel so on the spot at the moment.
Yeah, I know. That's what we do.
That's off the top of my mind locally. Producer Trillbot released a beat tape, which it's cool because all of his stuff is original instrumentation and all him from the ground up. So check out Trillbot on Instagram, and I forget the name of the project, but he released it like last week. It's good.
All right. As for myself, let's go Amnesia Pixel Terror. It's on the Rocket League soundtrack, of course, That's where I first heard it. But I'll bump it from time to time. It's a good time. But you can never go wrong with Monster Cat songs. That's just kind of how it is. That's a good label. You always get something good out of there. Locally, well, this also ties in to one of the events that went on yesterday as of time of filming, and that is Colton Forrest Hardy, Electric Desert. That's a great way to open his new album, which was, it's a fantastic listen. But Electric Desert, I mean, heard that live, heard the, studio version on Spotify. Fantastic opener. Sounds like something out of a movie soundtrack. But yeah, so over at La Luna was a, release party for his album. I think it's Colton Forrest Hardy in the Electric Desert. Sounds like a cool rock opera, honestly.
Yeah.
But no, good stuff there. I guess we'll talk about a little bit more news, and that's we just had another art walk for the month of June. Everyone was out there vending, a lot of music, a lot of cool stuff going on. I got to see Jay Scribe and his crew, Z the Author, over at Inside Out. That was dope to meet some more rappers in the scene, see Jay Scribe again. I know you were out there, Wyatt.
Yeah, I played with Homegrown Galaxy. We played together as Spacey, and it was a lot of fun. The art walks have been awesome lately.
Yeah, no, they've been crazy. People just been roaming the street. The entertainment's been awesome.
Yeah,
they've been closing down the streets for it, so it's been.
That's crucial, definitely.
Yeah, no, that's been high key, real nice. Because I remember the first couple just like waiting just across the street, bro.
Yeah.
It was a hassle.
It makes all the difference, definitely.
But yeah, no, a lot of good friends out there. Homies from Monsoon Music House, you know, past guests are out there. People we've met, it's always a good time. Artwalk, you can never go wrong there either. So, that's about it for news and stuff. I know I've been hearing a lot of murmurs of some upcoming events. So we're coming back this summer is what's happening. There's a lot of good stuff in the works. So stay tuned. Actually, there was a big announcement, and I can't forget about this one. All Loud is hosting that Juneteenth bash, a 3-day weekend of just some crazy good music acts. D Brown, Ezrock, Rylan Oz. Gosh, there's so many.
Dad.
Z the Author, Cali
Just,
Soul. Like,
Yeah.
it's
impressive.
Yeah, well,
I mean, they even got Guap Dad too. So,
Yeah, they got-
that's huge.
I mean, if we were to name all the names on there, we'd be here all day. That's how good of a lineup it is. So we're actually amped for that one. That one, you can't forget about that one. That's a big one coming up. So I'm very excited to see that one in action. It'll be a good time. So now for real, that's about all the news and such. So we got some good questions for Wyatt, but first, let's take a break. Yeah.
I'm Wyatt Lawson, and you're watching Albuquerque Public Access.
And you're back with the Producer's Pit. Today, we have a very special guest in, the one and only Wyatt Lawson, local DJ and producer, fan favorite. You probably see him spinning if you've been anywhere around Albuquerque lately. So let's get right into figuring out who the man, the myth, the legend is. So first off, what started off the love for music, and what kind of got you going with trap music specifically?
It's a long journey, I'd say. My music appreciation started probably around middle school. I trained pretty heavily with classical guitar, so I learned how to read music and theory and that stuff. So that was nice to have like that foundation. And then moving forward, moving from rock and stuff like that, I fell in love with underground hip hop and the lyricism. And then eventually, I really started to come around to the beats of trap music more, because I was always against it just because of the lack of lyrical content, and I just wouldn't listen to it much. But the beats kept getting better and better, and like just the structure and the way the drums hit resonated with me a lot more than the more poetic style of hip hop stuff. So I just kind of ran with that, and then from there got into electronic music, dubstep and whatnot. And then once the trap music started coming out and those, my two biggest loves kind of fused, it was like no looking back. I love that sound so much, definitely.
Now, who have been the biggest influences on your style of music? You a big Trapaholics fan, or?
Yeah, definitely. Like back in the day, it's interesting to listen to those songs nowadays, but back in the day, oh yeah, where'd you find this? Definitely.
Classic, bro.
But as in with the evolution of just being a musician and styles, through that, one of my biggest influences has been Mr. Carmack, because I really appreciate his boldness to kind of put out more experimental projects, but at the heart of it, like he makes the dirtiest beats, and like that's always what I love, definitely.
All right. I know you're also into painting. You touched on that at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
What got you started with that,
So right in the time of getting into hip hop, I really went all in, and my main focus was graffiti. So I would listen to music, but I would create the graffiti. And so that was my art outlet, because I would always draw, but graffiti was my love. And I did some stuff with cans on walls and that, but it was mostly markers. And like I said, that kind of took a position on the back burner when I started doing music more. But then as the pandemic came this last year, I had so much free time, and my daughter was really into painting. I had some old canvases and some paints, so kind of did some shapes, and I was like, hey, this is cool, and kind of refined that style since. Been running with it.
Nice,
It's
nice.
fun.
All that stuff looks good, bro.
Thank you.
That on the Insta, bro. I'm just, what's the next Wyatt Lawson
Oh
painting,
yeah,
bro?
100%.
Yeah. Appreciate that. It's been fun. Stay busy creatively, definitely.
No, for sure. I mean, I think that's kind of been one of the toughest challenges over the past years, finding ways to stay creative and
It was,
you know.
yeah, it was interesting. At the beginning of the pandemic, everyone was like, oh, we're going to have so much time. Everyone's going to make amazing music. But as it progressed, it was kind of energy draining. I mean, it was very energy draining. And so that didn't really happen like everyone was hoping to. So hopefully moving forward now, the energies are coming back to producers and whatnot, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk a bit about some of your recent projects, that being those really cool long trap mixes like Adventures in the Land of Entrapment and your work with Spacey.
Appreciate that.
What are the challenges in making more long-form musical compositions like that opposed to, kind of more shorter conventional songs?
The main thing the main view to have is take a step back, and it's all about the flow of energy. So if it's not energetic enough, you might feel like your mix fell short. But if it's just bangers the whole way through, it doesn't. Music has the most effect when it's compared and contrasted. So like your bangers aren't going to sound as crazy if you just throw bangers in the whole time, and like audiences can't really hang with that. So if you have like a little lull in the energy and then it just comes back even harder and stuff like that. So playing with energies over a long period of time is probably the most important thing when doing that.
And I said, you would probably think too, I mean, that's kind of how you approach, DJing an actual venue too.
Totally.
Is,
Yeah.
Controlling that flow.
Yeah. And with putting a mix online, it's a little different where you have more preparation and the final product is something that you've been through a few times, whereas DJing is like, okay, I prepared and what happens, and I'll record this and hopefully it sounds good, So it's a little bit different. They both have their pros and cons. Like it's nice to be able to have more control over what's going on, but it's also really nice to just do stuff on the fly, and sometimes that's when the coolest stuff happens. So give and take, definitely.
Now, what about some of the places that you've DJ'd at, some of the venues? What have been some of your favorite places to play at in town?
So hands down, the not the best, but the most special to me has been playing at Meow Wolf. It's just, the sound is great. They got the KV2s in there, but then the space is so small and intimate. The energy is awesome, and then like when you look up and it's like a little town, it's so fun, definitely. And half the time, the venue's so small, you'll see like the headliner walking around checking out the space. So it's a cool spot, and it's really nice to have that in New Mexico as a way to entice bigger names to come out, because like what was it? Cascade announced like a 4-show all over the world tour, and one of them was Meow Wolf, and it's like, holy shit, it's crazy. It's awesome.
Now, what about some venues you haven't played? Is there any dream venues you'd like to find yourself at, or anywhere that you haven't performed at in town?
My long-standing goal that I'm working towards currently, it has been to provide direct support at El Rey. And that would be the dream, someone heavier so the crowd's there to get down and hot and sweaty, super loud, having some production, the whole package, locally I think that's my goal, definitely.
So nothing like a Berlin club or anything crazy like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's good definitely to have, those goals that seem a little less attainable. Yeah. To be honest, I haven't really visualized those in detail yet. Yeah. I figure once I hit my landmarks here, then I can start looking forward. Although we are trying to start, a few artists and I are trying to start looking regionally to do stuff, so we'll see.
Definitely. Gotta hit your definitely milestones,
Yeah.
Gotta build up to it.
Yeah.
Rome wasn't built in a day, so it's totally understandable, you know. Now, I know with all the gigs you've played, you got to have some stories. Is there any crazy things that have happened in some of your performances?
For better or for worse, you know, I kind of navigate things so that, I mean, I have fun, you know, but I want people to see my professionality going about it. So I haven't found myself in the midst of shenanigans too crazy. It's the normal, like, no show ever runs on time, and if something starts on time, you know it's stressful up until that very second, and it's just like every show is like that, so you kind of get used to it. I mean, the goal is to be touring, and then after that, I would hope to have some better stories for sure.
But I feel like Albuquerque, come
Yeah,
on.
no,
You
it's true.
drunk people trying to hop up on stage. I mean, this is...
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, for better or for worse, nothing too crazy that pops out.
Not even at the United games.
It's been good because the United fan base has been respectful.
Yeah.
You know, more or less. Yeah. There's been a couple incidents here and there, but for, you know, a soccer club fan base, pretty respectful.
Yeah, no, I agree. Compared to like the UK where they're stabbing each other, and they got separate opposing fans. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be fun if it got to that level, but I don't know. I doubt it.
But how is that experience? So, you know, working with like New Mexico United, I feel like that's such a, you know, interesting gig to have, you know, at a...
It's been cool, the progression. It's been organic, and it's been cool to be part of and having help with the community growing. Definitely having help with, because, you know, a lot of us local artists are active in trying to build community all the time, and it's nice to have a hand from someone with a little more reach. And so that's been great. The experience in itself, considering it's new, it's been a blessing to be a part of. Like, it's like the second year now, and I mean, should be the third year, but second year now. And the fans they held on through the pandemic, and the first game back was awesome. You know, it was so cool to see so many people out and having a team that New Mexicans can support, because, you know, it's either like choose the Raiders or something like that. Because we don't have a team. It's nice for us to have a team to get behind, definitely.
Now, how did you end up getting, you know, working with New Mexico United?
So my good buddy was hired as a videographer. And as he was doing promo stuff, he's like, hey, we need tracks. I was like, okay, cool. So I would send him a bunch and got my start with them that way, providing beats for promotional stuff. And then eventually they started to do more events where it was like private events, like awards for the players and stuff like that, where I would do the DJ gig, set up sound, and spin like that. And then it kind of evolved into live stuff, and then it definitely translated. At the end of the pandemic, when they were coming back, they needed a place to play, and they couldn't play at Isotopes because it's too expensive. And so I would provide sound. I would DJ in the beginning, but then they would use the speakers as a PA system. So that was kind of my involvement through the end of the pandemic when nothing was really going on. And now that home games are back up and running, I plan to be at all of them doing sound except for next weekend because I have something planned. But but yeah, locking that in for the rest of the season. So that's going to be exciting. It's cool to be part of the home experience, definitely.
Well, there you go. You want to go see Wyatt in action? Mexico United home games. Yeah. I've been meaning to go back because when they first got started, it was like that energy. That fan section was so fun.
So that's the cool part is we do have a really good dedicated fan section. It kind of stems from like I don't know if you guys ever went to the UNM soccer games, but like right behind the goalies, students would just harass them the whole time. It was so much fun. So that's kind of how it is with the supporter section, the curse. And then that kind of bleeds out and creates and generates the hype because there's a certain level of percentage of attendance that or people there that it's just the thing to do right now, you know? But it's cool. Everyone's coming out, and it's a good time, definitely.
You know, and I'll being in the middle of the waving flags and the smoke bombs.
Yeah, it's awesome, definitely.
And I can see why, because I only was able to get into like one of them because they started selling out after that, and I'm like, it totally makes sense why.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, before we kick it to Damian for some artistry questions, I have one more question for you, and that is, what's the best class setup for Warzone? You gotta know this just a bit.
My kilo's maxed out, and I don't have the time to invest in any other guns. So, kilo, ghost, heartbeat, sensor, good to go.
There you go, pro moves. If you're having trouble in Warzone, there it is. High kilo, good man. Some people sleep on that rifle in that game. Real questions, codes, as Rylan Oz would say.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we got some more questions coming from Damian, but let's take a break, settle it down, you know, we'll be right back. And you're back with Producer's Pit. We just did half of our interview with the one and only Wyatt Lawson here, local DJ and producer, trap expert, making the land of entrapment real. So anyways, let's kick it to Damian for some fun questions about music production and artistry. So fire away, my friend.
Yeah, so you know how we were talking about motivation earlier in the middle of a pandemic. How did you keep your motivation, and how is that important to an artist's craft?
It's good to keep yourself inspired with goals. It's easy to lose sight of those goals, but it's good to set those goals for something to look forward to, because in the moment, and especially during the pandemic, it's hard to see what you're working towards and have the motivation to continue doing that. For me, is knowing it was funny. The last pandemic in America was 1920s, 100 years ago. I was like, hey, these 20s, I think it's possible to have another little renaissance coming out of this. I think everyone's going to be super ready to be creating and be active in all the little local events they took for granted. They'll show up to and stuff like that. So I was putting a lot of stock into that, and it's fun to start it seeing come to fruition in the last couple weeks. So you gotta keep sight of your goals. Definitely the main.
Yeah, and we know that you do various forms of art. How does the challenges differ between each form of art, or are they more similar than some people think?
Speaking personally, my art and my creative outlets between art and music, the style from where they come from doesn't really vary much. It comes from a love for hip hop and colors, and so I want my music to be obviously draw the inspiration of the drums and stuff like that, but also have maybe brighter sounding sounds, synths, and stuff like that kind of pop out of you more. And same for my art, where I want to have bright colors that pop out at you. And the hip hop style there is, a lot of the times I'll paint the shapes, I'm like, I kind of like this. But my favorite part, and really the most inspiring part, is the outline that I do. And like every graffiti tag you see is going to have like a clean outline. And so that's kind of my inspiration for that. So it all comes from the same place, really.
Okay. Yeah, and then moving off of that, you've been collaborating with people, with Spacey, with Galaxy and stuff like that. How has collaboration been important to you?
It's been the most rewarding part of all of it, honestly. You could sit in your room and make music, and it is cathartic, and it's something that I'll feel the need to do. But the most fun part of navigating music and especially within a community, is collaboration. You know, it's like growing up, you know, you make friends based on how you get along, and like certain interests might be irrelevant, and that's cool. But as you get older, it starts to flip, and you start to find friends with similar interests. And it's been really great to meet new people that way and make new friends with like-minded interests and goals, and building together just makes it more enjoyable but more effective for everyone. So if we join forces, it's the best thing that we could do, and it's a thing that a lot of smaller communities need work on, because it's hard to see someone else doing good and be like, oh, I'll have my opportunity, because it's hard to see because opportunities are few and far between. So the more opportunities we create for ourselves and each other, the better off we'll be.
Yeah, and we know it could get kind of wild in the studio sometimes whenever you collaborate. Do you have any tips on keeping determination and going when collaborating with others, and you know, achieving that final goal, that final project you guys have?
So I was watching Ryland's interview, and he made a good point where there's a difference between making music to, you know, get a load off and to just create because that's what you want to do and without any expectation. But when you're doing something like that, it's good to create with intention and have, you know, kind of a end goal in sight, and like, this is kind of what I want it to sound like. If we shoot for that, it won't sound the same, which is cool, but it'll sound similar, you know, stuff like that. And also, going into the studio, a lot of the times, like a legit studio, you're paying for the studio time, so you want to go in there semi-prepared. Like, you're not like, oh, I'm going to spend all day writing a song or writing lyrics in there. Like, maybe you'll collab with a vocal artist, and they'll write while they're vibing to the track, which is cool. But as a producer, you want to have some stuff ready. You're not going to go in there and make beats. You're going to go in there and play beats and then record to them and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I know a lot of artists nowadays kind of have a little trouble marketing themselves, and you seem to have gotten your grasp on that. Do you have any tips on that, and how important do you think marketing yourself as an artist is?
It's definitely a double-edged sword, personally. I don't necessarily like how much stock is put into having to market yourself, but at the same time, it's kind of like a game aspect to all of it, because like you create as like a form of release, but then like when you're marketing, it's not like, I mean, some people, you know, they love to do it and that's what they do, but as an artist, you're like, it's not like what I love to do, but it's something that I'll try and navigate. And it's been interesting because for me, I think about like the electronic scene. It's more nerdy kid in his room by himself than making beats for rappers. And that's why I'm in the middle, because it's fun to do both. But when you're just chilling there by yourself, like, it's... I went off on a tangent and I forgot what the question was.
Oh, you're good. I just asked if there was I forgot what my question was too, actually.
Marketing.
Right. No, I'm sorry.
My bad. No, you're good.
Marketing.
Marketing. That's right.
Okay, my original point was that in electronic music, a lot of times marketing is outside of their community, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm popping, but no one in my community loves me. And rap's kind of the opposite, where like you have a community following, but then you got to work really hard to make it out. And so I kind of took that from both positions, where I know it's on me to get out there outside of the community, but my best chances of getting any kind of recognition are working with the people that are most accessible to me. And so using that mindset of trying to get a good reach for people that might not be exposed to you prior, but also linking with people that you know will help you get into a position to, you know, move forward with your networking and marketing and stuff like that.
Yeah. And on the topic of networking and collaborating, do you have any dream collaborations, whether that be in music or even your art or, you know, anything at all?
That's a difficult one, because I mean, like I said earlier, it's hard to set goals that you feel like are out of reach. I mean, it's good, and I probably should, but I sit there and I'm like, man, there's so much work I need to do before I can even consider sending any of this stuff to any of the people that I really want to work with. As far as like collaborating, I would like to work with Quality Goods Records is Uzi's label, and like any of the artists on that label would definitely be choice. That'd be sweet.
Mm-hmm. And do you have any local artists that you haven't worked with yet that you would like to work with?
So Galaxy and I have yet to put out a production together. So that would be a lot of fun to sit down and work with her. I have like a few projects that I've done, but I would really like to do one solid one with like Kali Soul and Z, Giaffro, like all the old loadout homies. We've all worked together for years, but I think I have yet to get together with them. Maybe I've always talked about doing like my own little EP where I like how producers have been doing that. It's like, this is my project and it's featuring rappers. And that's kind of what I would like to do. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That's all I have today.
All right. Well, before we take our next break, we have a music production challenge that I am happy we are going to be undertaking. This is always fun to do, to throw on to the electronic artists that we've had on. So I'm going to need Mark in the booth to pull up a picture. This looks familiar, don't it?
Yeah.
Great piece of art by the man himself.
Thank you.
So the prompt is very simple. If you could put a tune to this piece of art, what would it be? So we're going to give you 20 minutes. Throw a musical composition of your choice. I mean, hell, you can do a cappella if you want.
For sure. No, yeah. I that's cool.
Let's blend
a little
your two.
worried about your prompt, but I think I could do it.
Let's blend your two
for sure
forms of artistry together and see what comes out.
I like that.
So we'll be back in 20, and let's see what Wyatt's got, because this is going to be good. This is going to be interesting. Anyways, we'll be right back. And welcome back to the Producer's Pit. On our last break, we gave our guest Wyatt Lawson here a tall order for most music producers. We've done this before if you watched some previous episodes, but the music production challenge is making its way back. And so we gave Wyatt 20 minutes to put a tune to his own work of art, which that's...
Oh yeah.
I honestly don't even know where to start with, you know, how I would put this into music. So how was the experience? I mean, I gave you 20 minutes. That's no time to do
it. It was
anything.
cool. I've watched videos on producers doing it. I'm like, oh, it's fun. And it was, definitely. Yeah. I mean, 20 minutes, like even when you're making beats, an hour goes by like that. So 20 minutes.
That's nothing.
Oh, man. So, yeah, but it was definitely a lot of fun.
You were a bit worried, too, about what the prompt would be. You think we hit you with something else? Make you do a tight beat that's just out of your...
My initial hesitation was being able to, like, understand and conceptualize, pivoting off of the question. But you bringing up my work and asking me to work like with my own stuff.
Yeah.
All right, for sure.
Yeah, that's a lot easier. We figured, you know, you're the one who created it. You know what emotion and, you know, what went into that. So we'll make it easy. Well, we made it easy. We didn't want to go too crazy. We could have done like, you know, drunk fan at New Mexico United game. What would that sound like in a trap beat?
Before I forget, shout out to Abstract Zach, because this is a collab that I did with him. So I did like my shapes, and then I sent the canvas over to him, blank in the shapes that, or spaces that he did his shapes, and yeah, came out awesome. We're gonna do more in the future for sure.
That's a dope collab, no, definitely. All this art's just like, you got that style, and I mean we've been gushing over it all show, but I guess all there's left to do is have Mark run that shit. Let's hear what you got. That's
Killed that.
20.
Thank you.
Dang, what the? I can't even decide. You know, I couldn't even produce this in 20. That's impressive.
Oh yeah.
You went above and beyond like everyone else. We give you a tall order, and you come through. That's cool.
Appreciate
and
it.
it's
fun.
I don't know how to describe. I guess it's just so unique. So it's like, but you did it. You described this paint.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely it's there.
For me, going at it, it's pretty clear that there's two different kind of styles there.
Yeah.
So kind of break those apart and then work in that. So my style is a little more wavy, and so that's why I added the pad stuff. And then his style is more geometric with harder edges, and I kind of think of like a stab in musical sense. So I tried to do some stabs, plucks over the pads to kind of and bring them together, kind of like that was going on. So where it's like they marry, they don't blend together where you can't tell where one starts and where it begins because it's pretty obvious, but they complement each other super well. So I tried to kind of capture that for sure.
You nailed it. And then, man, I'm happy we brought this challenge back. We haven't done this since like the Bush League days when we were first doing this, but that's awesome. Wow. Man, how many times have we done this challenge in those shows? It's like 4? Makes it 4, right?
I think it's 4. I think
So
it's 4.
we're going 4 for 4.
4 for 4, yeah, easy.
Is it usually just kind of like I have an idea, let's have you do it?
Yeah. we kind of tailor it to the guests.
Sure, that's cool.
So
I like that.
like we did with Pocket Elephant and Red Panda, we were just like, you guys work together so much, imitate each other.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's cool. Because, I mean, like a lot of the ones that I've seen, it's like, here's the sample, go ahead and flip it. Which is a little easier to like work off of in a rushed scenario, but it is fun kind of trying to have to fully conceptualize what you're doing. I think that's kind of the hardest part. But
Like what's it called? It's like 6 producers, 1 sample.
Yeah.
Those are pretty
I've been
crazy.
wanting to do that locally just because there's enough producers. It's like, or just like I really like the tracks that are kind of like ciphers. You could tell one producer started the track, stemmed it out, and they're like, hey, leave mine alone, do whatever you want to this section, and then send it to someone else. And then you just kind of have like 5 different drops and different styles of the same sounds. It's like, I think that'd be super fun.
That sounds like we definitely need some more segments. So
Hell yeah.
maybe give like 3 producers a sample.
Yeah.
Have that.
Oh,
There's some ideas here. You're watching. This is actually just a brainstorming segment now. You're in a company meeting for this show.
I mean, in reality, that's half of all of this. It's like you create, but then you have to come together and brainstorm. You know?
Yeah.
So it's true.
Exactly. Well, all I can say is, that like God dang, everyone's so talented in this.
Oh yeah.
No one's missed on this. Everyone hits.
Nice.
Well, let's bring this show on home, but first, let's take a break and maybe enjoy this art one more time as we take that break. And welcome back to the Producer's Pit. We just had Wyatt Lawson nail our producer challenge. I mean, once again, well done.
Thank you.
I don't know how you pulled that off in 20.
Oh yeah.
But before we close out the show, we got a little more time. Let's do something special, This is a special episode to us, so we're going to subject you to one of the most realistic DJ scenes in cinema history.
Yes.
All right.
So we want to know your thoughts on this. Mark, let's get it rolling. This is from We Are Your Friends, by the way.
Yeah.
In case you guys didn't know.
What's in there, Rosé?
Rose.
That's the best DJ right there.
Club soda.
With cranberry.
Very still.
Hey, you know, this party's looking a little stiff, Cole.
Has anyone ever hit you with that one?
This crowd doesn't dance before midnight.
Okay.
I mean, this experience is
Rocking a party.
really
Step
common.
Oh, here we go.
So it's the DJ's job to get the crowd out of their heads and into their bodies.
Is that true?
In
Yeah.
order to do that, caveman sense of
No
rhythm,
lie.
a cursory knowledge of mathematics, and the broad strokes of ninth grade biology.
Those are
For
cool.
example,
Okay, every DJ actually
controls
knows
this
this
region
before
of
you
the body.
start.
Oh, okay, that's good. to know.
The most important region.
Oh no, here we
There's
go.
always going to be resistance, so you got to be patient.
We got the German cut
that
on
one
this.
Oh, we
Nice.
didn't get the
After
German
just go
version.
for it.
He's going for it. Oh, there you go.
Oh, we wait for that one person.
Also true though. Also true.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
it just takes one to, get it going. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, you get that effect now.
Yeah.
Next, you want to zero in on their heartbeat.
This is the most important part
I
right
like to
here.
start them off at about 120 beats per minute. That's equivalent to the heartbeat of a long-distance runner.
I've never counted.
And so I guess he's doing
BPM is the name of the game.
I was good.
It governs how your body
heartbeats.
The heart.
moves. For example, reggae is slow, about 60 BPM.
All right. This is important information. For
Dubstep is actually 140 BPM cut to half speed. It ends up being about 70 BPM. Then there's hardcore.
There you go. That's the good stuff.
Dance to that. Once you've locked onto their heart rate, start
we go.
beating them up. Song by
Yeah,
song.
yeah, it's all about matching heart rate.
Yeah. All right, we gotta get him up. Yep. So it's just a gradual climb,
Yeah,
you know.
gradual climb. That's all it's about.
What is he up
So what is going on?
What's going on?
to? Wizardry.
Here's a dance scene.
What happens when you match heartbeats?
Yeah, what you get. That's what happens when you match
There's a popular
heartbeats.
myth that 128 beats per minute is the rate that synergizes most with your heartbeat.
Now is that true?
Like I said, I've yet to do the research.
Yeah, that's true. This is
All
Plus, this
DJs.
is the house BPM range, so I'm not quite as
That's the
familiar.
benchmark.
exactly.
Once you've
really,
got your crowd there,
I mean, I'll play,
controlling
but
their
complex,
entire
you know.
circular
I
process.
mean, all DJs are naturally microbiologists.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Here we go. Here it comes.
Yo.
Oh man.
There you
I think
go.
there's definitely another factor to this equation that causes all that, but
Oh, there you go. And then Zac Efron gets his heart broken. Every DJ's got like a love interest, right? No.
warmed her up for
When
him.
you think
Gosh.
of an image, you kind of dream it up.
Also real.
Yeah.
Very, very, very real. So every DJ is living in movies. I think that's
Yeah,
That's
the
the
lesson.
perception.
Nah. So what do you rate that in terms of realism out of 10?
Realism out of 10, 4. It's not a 0, but it's not. It can't go too high. Just 'cause, you know.
So, but would you? I feel like this is like the intro video you gotta show every DJ. You know, this is like
how they
DJ
become-
101.
Yeah, this is.
Well, I mean that's a shame because people have no idea. They watch it like, oh,
They're like,
so
yeah,
that's
what it's
how you
about.
do it.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So they're over here thinking, you know, a little bit about math and biology.
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
like, bro, I just make music and paint it.
Well, I mean, when you saw the promo for the video for the movie with Zac Efron, you're like, oh, okay, that's exactly what it was. But you know, there's a certain level of like the glamorized lifestyle of that I think is probably real. But for the most part, that was the first time I had ever heard the whole heartbeat synergizing with the music. I was like, oh, maybe that's why people love house music so much. You never know.
All I know is ever since we've seen that movie,
I
it just
know.
hasn't been the same, bro. It's
Yeah,
it's such like a
Yeah.
it's like a meme, you know,
Yeah.
like.
And whoever was like, oh, dubstep is 70 BPM, it's not wrong, but like, It's 140. I mean.
Yeah, well, he said it was halves, so you multiply
Technically,
that
it
by
is
2.
halftime, but no one's like, oh yeah, 70. No one's making like full-time 140 tracks. Or anything. Like it's just 140 is dubstep. But, yeah. Overall, I think at the end of the day, it's hard to say. It's good and bad, that kind of publicity to like the masses, where the awareness is cool, but it definitely doesn't help the authenticity of the craft for sure. So it is what it is.
You
I
know,
thought the whole movie was
yeah,
real.
I thought it was legit, based on a true story.
Documentary.
How to DJ. Yeah, there's a whole movie's. It's like it's honestly like the room for musicians. That's kind of what We Are Your Friends is to us.
Yeah.
Like we kind of, but I'm sorry we had to subject you to that.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Saw it once.
But for all you DJs out there, the prereq is you gotta go watch We Are Your Friends. You
Gotta
know,
study physiology.
yeah, you gotta study a little bit of physiology,
Microbiology.
microbiology. Like, you know, if we ever open our own music school, like the degree in being a
prereqs,
DJ, you gotta
PP school or
the
what?
PP school, PP school of music. So if you're the electronic producer, it's like 101 is math. There's some crazy symbols in there.
It's
that was not
true though.
cursory.
Sometimes, I mean, I think it's safe to say most DJs are not very good at math. So you're like, oh, what's snap? What's half of this track in BPM, or what's double this? Or you pull out your calculator. You're like 128.5. All right, cool.
Yeah, we'll maybe pioneer the mathematics for musicians.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
I think it's necessary.
And then biology for musicians.
Yeah, why don't they offer that at like 4-year universities?
It's I don't know, bro. UNM just need to step it up. Flagship University, come on.
They should just do a whole film class on We Are Your Friends. It's like
It's
cross-listed as
like
film music.
it's like the classes. It's like the classes that study Kubrick and like.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just that one movie.
Yeah, it's just
a
the whole
semester-long analysis on a subpar DJ
Yeah.
movie.
What not to do.
What not to do. Oh my god! But seriously, that's like the OnlyFans joke on this show. We beat it to death. But, watch the movie if you haven't, and you'll understand why it's just.
It's entertaining.
Yeah, it is. It's all entertainment at the end of the day. But it's like it sucks that some people think that's how it works. But you just gotta roll with it. What was it? Cranberry and club soda.
Cranberry club soda.
Stealth. That's your stealth.
Yeah, we're on a rooftop full of drinks, but
Stealth. She running the ghost perk or what?
that's right.
Now, is that true? Do you start at 120 BPM
Christ.
and move up to 120?
I think maybe sometimes there's like a intention of speeding the dance floor up, but for the most part, it's for me personally, my collection, I'll start with the lower BPM, and it works better to go from slower to faster for sure. But the changing of BPMs is mostly out of necessity for beat matching, more so than, I mean, once in a while you definitely more dramatically can like increase energy by speeding it up, but it's usually more subtle, and you're trying to do it like as least noticeably as possible. So it's like really discreet.
Yeah.
So to really like lock in on that being like a way to like get in people's minds and hearts and stuff is I guess, but it's not necessarily the focus typically.
I know it's. I feel like it's not that deep at the biological. You're not over there like, hey, that guy. I'm trying to control his circulatory. You're just like, bro. I'm just trying to make sure everyone has a good time. That's it.
See, me watching it, especially from like a bass head perspective, it's like cringeworthy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can't imagine.
Yeah. Because I'm not
stop.
as familiar, and I was like happy that bass got its shout out, like 70 BPM halftime, and that's true. I have tracks ranging from 60 or 70 BPM to 200, whatever, double, but all of it is halftime. So I have music ranging from all BPMs, but it's all technically trap because it's halftime with trap drums on it. So I can relate, but I don't typically spin at 120 something because at halftime it's a little slow. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we gotta make. I mean, if you want to start in like a trap version of this,
Oh, that's true. We could.
DJ
then-
movie
yeah.
about trap music,
music
we'll
and
give
stuff.
you a whole
Yeah.
Yeah.
like a character. It'll be like character development storyline.
And then it'll be like a sequel to We Are Your
This would
Friend.
be it'll be like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but with subpar DJ.
We Are Your Friends universe. That's pretty good.
Max Joseph, hit us up, bro. That was the guy who
Yeah.
who directed
He
it.
also did Catfish.
Catfish, bro. He
Yeah.
was one of those Catfish. That's how you know it's quality.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
Yes.
for enduring
Of
that.
course.
We
Oh,
actually
yeah.
did get some
Oh, yeah.
valuable information out of that. You know, education. That's what we're all here about at the PP School of Music
exactly.
and Arts.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about a few more things before we exit the show today. But first, let's take a quick break because, god dang, that was a lot. So we'll be right back. And welcome back to the Producer's Pit. We're getting ready to close up a fun day with our guest, DJ and producer Wyatt Lawson. Thank you for enduring all the shenanigans and challenges we threw on you.
Anytime.
You know, it's an amusement park ride here. You know,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you won't get hurt, but you'll definitely go through some emotions, go through a ride. So, you know, that's what it's all about. It's all about having fun.
Sure. Exactly.
So, the audience at home, if you want to know where to find Wyatt Lawson, his art, his music, all that stuff, where can we keep up with you on the internet?
A majority of my work is shared to Instagram, both music, but art especially. And then if you search Wyatt Lawson, Spotify, Apple Music, and then especially SoundCloud, you'll be able to find me there. I really like SoundCloud. People say it's dead, and I see where they're coming from, but at the same time, I'll always have a deep love for underground music, and so that's kind of where electronic underground music was fostered, and that's still where you find a lot of the remixes that you're not allowed to post anywhere else.
Yeah.
So I really like SoundCloud. So I'll post singles up there, but definitely mixes. You can't. There's other websites to use, but there's not really anywhere else to share hour and a half long mixes. So most of that's on SoundCloud.
That's true. That's why I was listening to Adventures in the Land of Entrapment. That was
Yeah.
that's a good time. Go check those out for sure. Plus the spacey ones too.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, definitely can't forget. I have a project with my friend Galaxy. We go by Spacey, and it's a lot of fun. It's our outlet to let loose and go wild. So like typically as a DJ, you're trying to fit the bill and the slot you're booked for. So you kind of match style and energy with your slot. And doing that under Wyatt Lawson, I've always tried to respect that. Knowing that it takes putting in the work to get a later slot and a better gig to throw down. And so I've been doing that, and joining forces with Galaxy's been a lot of fun, and that's kind of our project where it's like, hey guys, just let you know if you book us, like we're not holding back. We're
No holds
throw
barred.
down.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and we try to stay active through quarantine with live streams, and it was good. It's nice to have a little bit of interaction, but it's with bass music. It'll never translate the same unless you're standing in front of a big sound system. And so we're really excited to be doing shows, and we're actually undertaking our first event, throwing our own event in collaboration with the good people at the T-shirt Lab on 4th. We're going to do a block party, and we're bringing out a huge sound system, and it's exciting. It's kind of one of those things where if you want opportunities in the city, you kind of got to make it happen. So trying to do that, and I'm excited. Yeah, and hopefully it goes well.
Yeah. Definitely, no, that's gonna be a good time. I mean, those spacey mixes are are crazy, man. Like,
They're a lot of fun, definitely.
they're an experience because you did one for like Halloween, and then you did.
Yeah.
There's another. I don't know when you dropped the other one, but
Yeah.
both of those are. Good time.
It's been a lot of fun because like we dropped the Lost and Spacey mix and
Yeah.
listening to it. Even I messaged her, I was like, it's hard to like, I mean, I know, but it's hard to tell who dropped which tracks because our styles kind of blend so seamlessly that it's a lot of fun. And every live set we have, it just gets better and better. So looking forward to the rest of this summer, definitely.
Yeah. So if you want some just hours on hours of trap,
Yeah.
I got you covered.
Yeah. It's true.
Real
It's
trap
true.
shit.
Yeah.
Is there anything, upcoming music-wise that, you'd like to let us know about here?
I'm working on some music that I have yet to put together my first official body of work, like an EP. So I do plan on doing that. It's hard where I'm definitely guilty of being like my own worst critic. So I'll have a track that I really like and then finish it, start to feel a little iffy about it, and then you compare it, which is the worst thing to do, and you're like, I'm never releasing this. So, I mean, I'm getting to the point where it's a mixture of feeling more confident in my music and being easier on myself. And so I think I'm almost there to release my first EP. Always looking to collaborate. There's definitely a distinction I try to have between electronic music and sonically filling in all the space, and then like beats for other people where you're leaving emptier spaces sonically for vocals and whatnot. I have yet to figure out how to bring those together into one body of work, but when I figure that out, that's when I'll drop it. As far as DJ stuff goes, though, I'll be at the United Games, home games. We have our block party coming up, the Spacey Bass block. That's Saturday the 12th, so that's in a week from now. The show will have aired after that, so hope it goes well.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. Yeah.
I'm excited for that. And it's cool to see a lot of the bigger promotion companies in the city starting to announce shows, and so that kind of brings hope for all the local DJs.
Exactly.
Waiting to see who they call on.
It's back. That's all that matters.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, of course, before we plug our stuff, the $1 million question, and you came prepared for this one. Who would you like to see on this show?
So
in
I
the
knew
future?
you were gonna ask, and I knew that I would not remember. It's like someone asking you your favorite song. And you're like, okay, so I got some friends. So we mentioned Galaxy. She makes awesome work. You can find it on Spotify. My homie Field Trip, he's super knowledgeable when it comes to the technical side of electronic music, so it's been great to link up with him, and he's kind of schooling me on like mix downs and certain softwares, and he's really good with the hardware itself. Like he upgraded my computer for me and stuff like that. He makes cool music, so definitely a good brain to pick, along with Trent Cast. He's a local bass music producer, and it's really good. It's one of those guys where it's like he just keeps putting in the work. He'll get his time because it's like it's really good. And it's one of those guys where he'll show it to bigger producers and they'll like give him his props because he deserves it. And so it's someone I look up to. Like I bought a mastering class from him and stuff like that. So he's definitely someone to look up. Someone who's grinding like on the beats, just killing it is Nike Boy. He's a good dude. Yeah, killing it. Homie Desert Disco is a good one. He makes house music. He's a house DJ as well. Another good brain to pick locally in the scene is his name's Ryan Hinchman. He goes by 1042. And I don't know if you guys have heard of his Party in the Parks, but he does like big old, typically house music event in the park, and they're awesome. And it was a little bit of a bummer. He was planning a party in the park where it was like including all the crews, like house music, bass music, drum and bass, and all that stuff, and then the pandemic hit. So he's getting back to that. Hopefully in the future we can do that mega party. But he makes drum and bass and DJs as well, and super active in the community, so he'd be a good one to talk to. My little brother Quinn, he's definitely like myself, knows everyone that's been on the show, and he's a talented musician, so hold it down for him for sure. He actually, the story of my producing is, I was always doing art, he always did music. I picked him up, he moved in with me, had my girlfriend at the time, her computer, pirated Ableton. He taught me how to use it, and the rest is history, and we started making music together as Quiet. And although our styles have kind of went different ways, I do hope to make some more stuff together in the future. And last but not least, there's a crew called Grime Apple in Albuquerque, and it's electronic bass music crew who just ventured into doing their own label. And so I'd like to promote them because they're trying to promote local artists, and I love what they're doing. They have shows lined up through the summer, and they do like pop-ups all the time, and it's cool to see people in the community trying to help each other out, and the people who are a little more established and have those connections passing those opportunities on is something that I'm trying to work myself into, like a position like that, and I'm getting there, and it's been exciting. So definitely want to shout them out in the community.
Awesome. Bro, more like, I love electronic music, bro. So
yeah, I
I'm
figured
amped to
I could
check out
throw some
more.
local electronic people your way. Definitely.
That's dope. Galaxy though. Last Silent Lights at UNM did.
Yeah.
I mean, we
definitely.
were fans ever since that, bro.
Oh
Yeah.
She
100%.
killed it. Like
Yeah.
it was something else. Like she was on stage after Pocket Elf,
yeah.
and that was just a perfect transition.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah, I remember that for sure. I was supposed to do one, and then the pandemic hit.
yeah. But yeah, no, we'd be amped to have more electronic on the show,
totally.
more or less. Well, where can you find us? Well, it's always popping on the Instagram, producers_pit. That's where we post the highlights, the updates, whatever's going on in the city. That's where we're at. We're hanging out. So you'll know all you need to know about this show on the Instagram. YouTube, Producers Pit, of course. Full episodes, the whole 9. You get to watch all the shenanigans. It's an hour. Might seem long, but watch it in pieces, It's all a good time, definitely. So throw a subscribe to that one. That's always a good time. Throw a comment. We like the engagement. So thank you to everyone who's been watching. Our people have been engaged in it, and I appreciate hearing people, saying they watch the interviews, and it's cool. Spotify, same handle as the Instagram. That's where you can find Song of the Week picks. That's where you can find the local picks. So you can figure out what I'm listening to at the moment. It could be anything, honestly. Yeah. That's how our music tastes are just everywhere. And then we're gonna plug the Twitch. I believe it's the same as the YouTube, but we'll put it in our link tree in the Instagram. We're trying to get that up and running, have some fun kind of streams with the artists out here. There's some things happening that we're hoping to stream on, so we're gonna have some fun this summer too, just like everyone else. It's coming back, and honestly we just want to do more, and we're happy you guys have been watching, and honestly it's cool. We'll keep putting out content, keep checking it out, and let's find some new artists to listen to, share music. That's what this show's about. So it's been cool. It's been a fun ride, and we're ready to do some more. So that closes out today's show. For myself, for Damian's an Alien, for the one and only Wyatt Lawson, for our friends at Studio 519. We'll also be on Public Access Channel 27 here out in Albuquerque. This is the Producers Pit signing off. We'll see you on the next one, guys. Peace.